Hi, my name is Carmen West, and I am currently working on my master's in education administration through Lamar University, and this is my leading video. I have been working as Dean of Students for the past 5 years at a Catholic elementary school, which is within the Diocese of Galveston-Houston, and this is my 5th year in this position. My mentor is also my school principal. She is currently in her 4th year as principal of our school, and she and I work very closely together, not only with her being my mentor throughout my master's program, but because of the administrative roles that we both hold and responsibilities. We work very closely together on many aspects throughout the school. The principal and I chose this particular activity, which I will be leading a middle school faculty meeting, and there are many important items on the agenda that need to be discussed and addressed, and so my principal felt that this would be a great opportunity for me to lead this meeting and experience the responsibilities of leading a meeting with several items on the agenda and several important items that are happening in a very short amount of time. The items on the agenda include group parent meetings, which is when the teachers feel like they need to meet as a faculty with the parents of a specific student because they see concerns throughout all of their classes. We need to develop a template, so to speak, so that everyone that needs to speak is able to be heard and have an opportunity to voice their concerns to the parents. And so we just need a little bit more organized plan to be sure that the meeting is a success. Also, service projects, which our school participates in every year. The middle school specifically, they do 2 types of service projects, both at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so we need to discuss some of those expectations as far as that's concerned, because we do have some new faculty members and need to make sure that they have a full understanding of what is expected. Our 7th and 8th graders participate in a mock trial, which is held downtown, and that will be coming up as well. Our 8th grade students visit local Catholic high schools as possible places they would like to attend, and so they have a couple of high school visits coming up. The Halloween Day parade and parties, and also Day of the Dead is another item on the agenda. The Wednesday bell schedule will need to be adjusted. We need to make some tweaks with that. And probably the thing that will get the most attention is we need to devise some sort of program with students submitting their work and giving credit for other people's ideas, other people's work. We're tending to see a lot of problems with plagiarism, and so we want to address that and talk about some possible opportunities to help with that. And I plan to evaluate my meeting with a survey of the teachers once the meeting is complete, to see how I've done with time management and effective communication, collaboration, listening, and the topics that we'll discuss. And I look forward to this meeting. Thank you. Okay, we are ready to begin, so let's begin with our prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Lord, we come to you today to ask for your blessings and your mercy. We ask that you guide us to have good hearts, open minds, and uplifting words as we go about our business today. May your mercy be upon us when we are not at our best, and by giving the mercies, may always use it to become like you. We ask this in your name. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, so we have a few things on the agenda. And this came to me earlier this week about after we had the group meeting with our 5th grade student on Tuesday, that possibly having an agenda for the group meetings when we're meeting with the parent as a group of teachers, that we have some sort of agenda so that, not so that things necessarily go off task, but so that we can make sure that everything is being covered at the meeting and that, it's not really being monopolized by one person. I mean, I understand that sometimes one person has a lot of things to say, and that's important too, but we need to make sure that everybody has a voice and everybody can, be able to communicate their concerns with the child and the parent and that sort of thing. So, Alex, I know we had talked about it, and Mary as well. Did you have a few things you wanted to say about that or recommendations?
Yeah. I think that a couple things. One, I think it would help if, especially for rather sensitive subjects like a parent coming in to talk about their child and they're surrounded by the teachers.
Right.
That the teachers have receive a copy of what the objective of the meeting is, who's going to be present, and from whoever is leading the meeting, so that we know that that's the person who's going to guide. Number one. Number two, I think that each person at the table should be given an opportunity to talk about their particular experience with a child.
Right, and their concerns.
Correct. So that we're not in this kind of let me get it, and I think it needs to be if the person managing the meeting is putting together the agenda, they should move it along that way. Right.
And I also think, and I'll get to you in just a second, Maris, I also think too that, and this suggestion came up as well, is that some of these meetings we know, depending on the student, is going to be longer than a lunch period. And that may need to happen after school. I mean, some we can get done during the lunch period time, and that's fantastic. I think I encourage us to do that as much as we can. But if we know that it's a student that has many concerns from teachers, and that every teacher really needs time to talk, that's going to have to be an after-school meeting. So, and we can decide that. I mean, that's pretty easy to decide. We know which kids. It's just a couple of things, and then kids to where it's happening, kind of across the board, and we're going to need a whole lot more time than a lunch period. So, Alex, I think you had said that you may, kind of spearhead doing maybe kind of a template type thing, and then we can kind of go over that and make tweaks to it, additions, revisions, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
that's something, maybe I can distribute and just ask for feedback.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Maris?
I think it's also helpful in situations like that where we've potentially never met that parent.
Yes.
To have like a set introduction time. These are your children's teachers, because that didn't really happen. It was just like,
okay.
Oh, by the way, I'm the religion teacher.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, certainly, because there are some of us who don't ever see the kids' parents because they're just, whether it's their job or they're just not able to be involved or, whatever it is. So you may only be seeing that parent, once, maybe twice during the school year. So, yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Good idea, too.
So, therefore, I will distribute some thoughts.
Okay.
In terms of, and maybe a template and get some people.
Okay, so Alex will take care of doing that. Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, any other comments about the group parent meeting? Okay, so next on the agenda is the service projects. So, of course, we will continue to do support the Catholic Charities, the Share Your Blessings program that they have at Thanksgiving and Christmas time. And I would recommend that you homeroom teachers start collecting boxes. If you see nice, lovely boxes laying around, I would grab them and store them because you're going to need them. Belinda, I know that you're new. So what we do is we collect food items at Christmas time. And so the boxes are in your homeroom. And so I do all of the assigning of the kids, what items they're bringing. I send all that information home, but you'll be collecting it in your room. So they'll be bringing items, so you'll need boxes. And each box will have like a family number. It might be G17 or B12 or, whatever it is. And the kids will know because I send all this information home, and they'll be bringing food items for Thanksgiving time.
And so you'll tell us what our class is going to be collecting?
Yes. Well, yes. It'll go home to the parents, and then you'll have the list too, so you kind of know who is supposed to be bringing what. And I send the reminders. You don't have to do anything. You're just collecting the stuff. That's all you're doing.
And providing boxes.
And providing
Any
boxes.
type of boxes?
Just sturdy ones. You need to have good boxes, maybe computer boxes. I think Mary has some boxes. She's got lots of boxes. She hoards them. So she's got a ton of boxes. So one thing I wanted to say about it, and at Christmas we help the same families. We get assigned families, and we provide Christmas gifts for the children of these families. So over the years, it's been pretty good, but we pretty much know the same ones, even though I say if you're unable to help and contribute, that's fine. Please let me know. But for whatever reason, they don't let me know. So do y'all think it's too much? And do you think it's too much? There's not enough time in between Thanksgiving and Christmas to do both? Should we continue doing both? I mean, I personally think it's a great thing to do both. But if you really feel like maybe we should concentrate on one versus the other, then that's something that can be changed this early on, since it is still early. So those of you who have been here, what do you think?
Well, I think if we don't do both, may not get them.
Okay.
One may not get them.
Okay. So still continue to do both and really encourage it and that.
And usually we pitch in.
Right, and I did talk to the director of Catholic Charities, and she did say that she said it's okay, because last year I was kind of in a panic because in Debbie's homeroom, we were kind of putting stuff together. She said that's okay. We do have extras. Fortunately, they typically do have extras to where they can fill in, but we really want to get our kids to. And it's not the kids, it's the parents. The kids are the ones bringing it, yes, but the parents are the one getting all the information. So I'll continue to send emails, and if nothing is coming in from that child, I will either email the parent directly or call them and say, are you unable to participate? Then that way I know. And then, we all are very good about going and getting extra stuff. So I have no problem doing that. So, okay, so just know that that's going to be coming up. I usually send that out. I usually try to wait until after Halloween because that's a big thing. There's lots of stuff going on with that and everything like that. So speaking of Halloween, that's a couple of points down, but let's go ahead and talk about that. So middle school hands out candy, correct, to the little ones. And aren't we usually lined up there where Mary, your old room used to be, in that breezeway right there? Okay. And how does it get done to where the kids know the candy to bring? Do y'all email the parents and tell them what to bring, or
We just say bring candy.
Y'all just say bring candy? Okay. Because there was a question about that with PTO about, are the middle school handing out candy? I'm like, they've always handed out candy. That's nothing new or different or, anything like that. Do parents also, that was a question, do parents also hand out candy, or is it just the middle school?
No,
it's just it's just, okay, that's what I thought, but I thought, let me double check when we have our meeting. Yes, Scott.
The route may change.
Okay.
Sean was talking with Miss Ilsky, and she was suggesting a different route.
Okay, well, they are welcome to change it however they like. Belinda, again, you're new, so yes. So we celebrate Halloween huge here. It's big. It's bigger than Christmas. So bigger than Mardi Gras. So the kids all they can all dress up in their costumes. Well, the middle school, I think that they change. I think they come in regular uniform and then they change into their costume. And so we have this big parade, and it starts at a certain point on campus, and then like one class starts. It may be pre-K 3. It starts at pre-K 3, and they're going to follow this route, pick up pre-K 4, and then they're going to pick up, not necessarily in order of the grades, but kind of what makes sense on the route, and they'll pick, and the parade it just starts growing and growing as we pick up classes, and the parents are all following, and we end up in the gym, and we have a big, we have a costume contest, like scariest, most creative, all these kind of things. I mean, it's huge. It's tons of fun too. I mean, these kids, I do have to say, they get really creative. Wow. They get really creative. So yeah, it's a big, huge deal.
In the morning, in the afternoon.
It starts, so it's on Friday, on October 30th, and it starts after our lunch, so at 12:30.
It's just the last 2 periods of the day get you served.
Oh, okay.
And so it's the parade, and then it's followed by parties in your homeroom. I'm sure your homeroom mom, if she hasn't contacted you yet, should be, to kind of discuss with you what the plans are, but the homeroom moms take care of all that. But there will be a party in your room for your homeroom with the kids and the parents and
I think
all kinds of stuff.
Goes on during the lunch hour. Because by the time we go and, do the parade and the costume thingy, the little ones will go to their room and have their finish their parties, but we pretty much have already had ours.
And most
Yeah.
middle schoolers like won't really eat their lunch because they're gonna eat in their party.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lunchtime or
Oh,
after
I
lunch
see.
over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll be, that'll be coming up. And then Day of the Dead. Alex and Mary, I know that y'all were talking about that and possibly doing some displays of things out here. So one of y'all want to kind of talk about that a little bit? Alex?
I can give you a
Okay.
couple of updates. One is we've engaged the elementary school and Ms. Vig to do some work with all of the art classes, and they've already done some little paintings of masks and stuff, and she was really pleased at how that came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the middle school, the idea is absolutely, I will introduce the whole idea behind making some altars. And
Okay.
and I'd like to do it by class.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly maybe the 8th grade heritage class be the one that kind of leads it with a bit more elaborate kind of thing.
Okay.
One of the things I have to be a little bit careful of is next week is going to be just, I'm really not going to see the children.
Right, because it's such a
So
short
it's
week.
going to have to happen relatively fast.
Okay.
There's some really good material online, and I think
Mhm.
it's a pretty straightforward thing, but that's kind of the idea.
So
Okay.
we have like
And then,
2 weeks, next week and the week after to really kind of get it
To
up, because we
pull it
want it
together.
for the week of,
Like we'd like to have it the week before
23rd.
All Saints, so that would be the.
and All Saints is the first, isn't it?
The second.
Second. Okay.
so we'd
Okay.
have it up at least by the 23rd.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's coming.
Gipp is gonna make 3 16-inch, 5-foot long tables to go out here,
Okay.
and then we'll alter them up.
Okay. That sounds good. Maris?
All Saints is the first, however, it's a Sunday, so All Souls is the second.
Also,
Ah, okay. I was correct.
November, though, is the month that Catholics pray for the dead. And so
Mm-hmm.
the last 2 years that I've been here, we've had an altar for the dead. They can bring in a photo of grandparents,
That's-
Right.
siblings,
Yeah.
oh no,
cousins,
that's what we mean by a little altar.
Okay,
Oh.
where would
Yes,
that be?
that's what I was
We're
gonna
gonna
ask.
go 1, 2, and 3, right here, and 4. 8th grade will.
Where that plant stand is, right there, that'll be
And then the
used.
3 other will go along the wall out here.
There will be one for everybody else in the main hall of the school.
Yeah,
Yes, right
it's down there by where we put the, yeah, the schoolhouse.
We have to move
And
the
do-
schoolhouse.
yeah, they can move that.
It
That's
sits
easy.
on the floor for the month.
That's fine. That's fine. That's easy.
Um,
Where we put
yeah.
the little flower award.
From
Just-
from my perspective, the Spanish class perspective, the idea is to do a little bit more, is to absolutely All Souls, All Saints, but doing a little bit more on the Mexican traditional side, and I've already talked to Alondra, and we're possibly going to get some donations from them in terms of some of the Mexican
Scrolls.
kind of things that come with, right?
Mhm. Makes sense.
And so that was kind of thing, but absolutely everyone was to bring a photograph or some kind of little memento of someone who's passed.
Okay. Okay, great. That sounds good.
I know
Yes.
this is not here nor there for this year, but I didn't know this was maybe an idea that could be incorporated. But next year, we also don't have a dedicated art teacher, but at the school where I came from, every year at the Day of the Dead, the 7th and 8th graders, because they were the older, more mature kids,
Mhm.
would decorate crosses with the Day of the Dead theme.
Judy did that.
And then they
Oh.
would be auctioned off.
Amen.
And
Uh-huh.
it was a big, it
Wow.
was huge.
Yeah.
And when they came up with this theme for the harvest party, I thought, oh, that would have been great, and we would could have done,
Well, maybe that's something that could be discussed with Miss Vig. I don't know how, is it too late?
Yeah, my concern is it may be a little bit.
Because she only sees it. Yeah, and she doesn't see the older kids at all unless they're in her elective. So,
That's
yeah.
what I was saying. I didn't know if that's something in the
But
future. There was
definitely something that we can-
It was like so cool, and then
Yeah.
this fits in here.
Right,
And
right.
We didn't even. I mean, obviously, it was a secular school, but it was so popular.
Mm-hmm.
So incredible. So,
Something like that, I'd love to do something like that, but we would need to start it a lot.
Oh, early,
a lot
definitely.
earlier,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we are already kind of pushing.
Oh, definitely.
Close
Yeah.
to
No.
it.
No.
Right.
It couldn't be
But
done.
it definitely something that we can put, on the schedule for next year.
That'd be fun, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Oh, man.
Okay, so next week, just an FYI, mock trial is Thursday, October 15th, and Scott Segalski and Alex are going to be going with 7th and 8th grade to the courthouse for that. So, and I already have the bus, so that's already set. And I think about 8:30, Mary?
I think, probably 8:15.
8:15?
They've gotta be there by 9.
They've got to be there by 9. Okay. I'll double check the time on the bus reservation, but I know I already got that. So,
And I'll tell you who this.
and I
As
was,
a matter of fact, I'll introduce you to Ashley,
Okay.
so you know exactly who you're looking
We
for.
wanna get a picture of them before they leave.
Oh, yes.
oh yeah. Yeah, that would be good. So we can just keep them right after assembly?
Yeah, I use that.
Right after assembly?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can keep them and get a good photograph of them.
Take some pictures.
How long
Yeah.
would they be gone?
A couple hours?
About, usually,
11?
10, 15-ish, 10:30.
But back by 11,
Yeah,
for sure.
They should be, yeah. back
Okay.
by-
So those of you, as far as planning is concerned, okay, so we're estimating about 11, but they could get back early. Okay, just be ready. So, but yeah, I would say probably 10, anywhere between 10:30 and 11 to expect them to return. And maybe Scott, if you could maybe text me when y'all are on your way back, and then I can let the teachers know, hey,
Yeah.
they're leaving the courthouse right now, so they have that would be great. Okay. So anything else, Mary, that we need to know about mock trial? The kids come dressed
yeah.
very nicely. So
I have a handout that I'll be giving to 7th grade, because 8th grade pretty much knows the routine.
right.
But they can't have anything in their pockets. No, they will probably have to take off their belts.
Mm.
They have to wear tennis shoes. No bracelets, no anything, because that sets off the metal detectors. And
Ah, okay.
You're going into the courthouse, and so you can't have any of that stuff on you.
Right.
So,
And have you've talked to 8th grade? You've gone over that with 7th grade as well too?
I'm going over that.
You will. Okay. All right. And just remember that next week is a very short week, so that's going to be, pretty tough. Grades are due 8 a.m. Tuesday, 8 a.m. on Tuesday. So, and of course, parent-teacher conferences after school on on Thursday. Mary, you won't be here on Thursday, correct?
I'll be here in the morning.
In the morning.
And
Okay.
Then I won't be here in the afternoon.
Okay.
Wedding, and I won't be here Friday.
Right.
But I have some parents coming in Thursday morning for conference.
Okay. While they're gone to mock trial. Yeah. Okay.
No, before they go to mock trial, starting at 7.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the Wednesday bell schedule. That is probably going to need to be adjusted because right now it has on there, first period or that period being at 9 o'clock, and that typically does not happen. So that's going to need to be adjusted either starting at 9:05 or 9:10. I personally think 9:10 is probably better. And the easy thing is that we can just take off homeroom. We can take that time from homeroom. I mean, we don't need to do that. Mm-hmm. So the only thing that I have to look at is those teachers that teach the little ones and to make sure that it doesn't interrupt their schedule too much, which it shouldn't, just being 5 or 10 minutes. But for instance, if Judy has a computer class, and I just have to make sure that their times are okay too. So if she's teaching little ones, that's why I'm saying I'm making sure it's not going to overlap.
Do you have little ones in the afternoon, late afternoon?
It depends on the day. That's why I have to look at it. There may be a couple of teachers. We were just talking about Judy, the bell schedule on Wednesday. We probably are going to need to change it because it still says 9 o'clock for a first period after Mass, and we never get back from Mass by 9.
I have one for you.
Okay, so I'll just have and if it affects teachers, it's only going to be a couple. It's not as if it's going to be 8 people, but I do need to check that. But just an FYI, we need to change that. And I know when accreditation comes back to check everything that we will get nailed for that if it's not changed. So so expect that to come. I don't know if it'll be this coming Wednesday because we get back on Tuesday. And, I got to look and make sure and all that. So, okay. Also next week, electives. Completely lost my mind and forgot about the elective sheets. So they will go to homeroom on Tuesday and sign up for their electives. And then on Thursday, electives will start. So they should have, something that they can do, work on, that kind of thing.
Oh, what's her name?
Or I can. That's no problem. I can do it. Okay.
Is there going to be another assembly explaining the electives? Because I'll probably start the international club.
Oh, do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, perfect.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure what the timing was on that.
Yeah, we can,
So
you could probably go, since the kids are going to stay in homeroom on Tuesday and sign up for electives, you could go around and talk to each class. Because you would have time to do that.
I did mention something about it at the assembly we had earlier. So they're
right, I do remember that.
About that. So,
yes.
but I'll mention it again.
Okay, perfect. And speaking of speaking of, he's going to do the international club. Scott is not going to do the theater arts. So he's realized that it's a lot for him, which I did say that at the beginning of the year. I said that may be too much because your schedule is very different going down to the lower school. So he's realizing that, yeah, he probably need to step back. So good. You'll step right in and that'll be great. So that'll be great. And Muriel is still going to do the French. So that'll be good. Yes.
What's taking place in that?
Of what?
Of his elective?
International.
club is Alex is going to do an international club. Yeah. So that'll be awesome. Scott? Huh? Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So anything else about that so far? Okay. All right. This also came to the table as well. And Judy, we may need your assistance with this about teachers. Having a program that students can submit their work to the teachers, because I know Debbie had mentioned that several students that she had that were attempting to turn in something, she couldn't even open it because it's not compatible with
it's coming
Windows.
From their iPad.
What specifically are y'all talking all these
projects and all that stuff.
I did research it. I researched it this week on my own, and the only way you can get something from the iPad is to take the cord, plug it into the iPad in your computer, and it pops up like a digital camera card, and you can go and get the project off that way.
I think what they're asking for is an app.
There's not one. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I already researched this. This is the only option there is that I found.
All right, so
anybody else would like to research it, go right ahead. But that's what I found.
All right, so you take that cord that goes into their iPad.
Yeah, and I did it on one of the kids that had something for one of y'all. And I said, okay, because I've been pulling my hair too with this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh my God, because they're driving me literally insane.
Well, they have.
And it's that because the iPad is not compatible with other things, with Word.
Yes,
it is. But if they can't open things,
but what are they doing that they can't open?
I don't know. I don't know. They're putting it on flash drives, but then they can't open it.
I've seen them do on their iPad or movies.
There are Microsoft Word apps where they can type in their iPad and have it be Microsoft Word compatible. I thought that's what this was referring to.
That's not, I didn't think that's what it was referring to. I thought it was referring to, because I talked to y'all about this.
Well, but for instance, Lonnie Turner typed a story and tried to email it to me, and it will not work.
That's my issue.
Shyla Sriracha had a report, tried to email it to me. It will not open.
This morning,
find out what program
Sebastian tried to email something, and it was right there. I put in my own address.
The email, it's how they set up their iPads. That's why they're.
But that's true.
Some of them email me, and I get it, and I print it for them. Yeah. Some of them, they'll email her and you, and they never get it, and then they email me, and I get it.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
So we don't know what the glitch is.
Okay.
As far as that is concerned.
Projects are going, they need to plug it in and grab them off that way. As far as this typing stuff, they need to come see me. I don't know what they're typing in.
Or what program.
It might not be compatible. Therefore, you might tell them you're going to have to type it on a computer at your house.
Yeah.
You're going to have to find a different alternative.
That would take foresight and planning on their part.
Well, we're going to have to work with them with it then.
There is some work can be done. Yeah, work can be done on their iPads. They might be using some. Who knows?
Well, I know Sebastian this morning. It was Notability.
But that should have been
You can't do Notability is not going to be compatible.
Exactly.
The only way they would be able to print Notability is using AirPrint.
Yeah.
That's it. So some of this they're kind of.
There is Word, and it was free.
Okay.
There was a Word app.
So they can get Word.
The other thing is they type the first 15 minutes of my class. They're more than welcome to type a paper if they need to, the first 15 minutes of class, and print it.
And could they copy and paste into when they're can they plug the iPad in? Can they plug it in and copy it and then paste it into a document? That's what I'm asking.
They could email it to themselves and then open it on the computer.
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
And I have another question actually for Judy. So, my son is the one that told me this is so. I think somebody else might have mentioned it here also. Is there a way that on the iPad we can see what everybody else is doing, like if they're on task or what have you?
It's thousands of dollars.
It costs money to get one that's going to be able to see the whole class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We need that before we have iPads. In
Because
We
know what?
We need to
I can't
invest.
be, y'all know, around 23 people at one time.
But if
seeing
they're
what's
not
Right.
gonna pay money to have, what's it called? What's wrong with me?
Brain pop.
Brain pop,
Oh.
there's no way
They're gonna do
put
that.
But like Maris just said, then we shouldn't have iPads.
I agree.
If
So-
we can't.
Well, but we already do, so that's,
do.
I mean,
I know, but maybe,
you know.
this needs to be a bigger
It's just
topic.
still an issue, Carmen.
I know.
They have no self-control.
They
I
have
know.
no self-control.
Okay, so,
We need a program that'll shut them off.
Okay.
And it's gonna cost us some money. It might not cost us thousands of dollars, but I have to have a green light that says, yes,
Right.
find us one and we will buy it.
right, okay, so let me tell you something that we talked about at the brown bag lunch, because I think sometimes, you know, and I'm speaking for myself, you know, we get very frustrated with the kids about, you know, things that they're doing. You shouldn't be doing this. Well, you know, we know all of that. But one thing that we did talk about with the parents that were there is that these kids, as a generation, they are very dependent. That is how they have grown up. It's not like us when we were, you get outside and you don't come back inside until the street lights come on, and you figure out your stuff and you don't come in the house, because if you come in the house, you're going to clean. So we had to stay outside, solve our problems, figure it out, work it out. If we had to do a project, there was no option of doing, we didn't have no internet. You go to the library, you use the Dewey Decimal System, you use the card catalog. These kids, they don't have that. They have no concept of that, and they are very dependent as a generation. And so, you know, it's not just us. Even when we get kids that are coming from other schools, it's the same thing. It's the generation. So we are going to have to figure out ways to work with that. I mean, that's just how it is. You know, getting frustrated, that's going to happen, but it's not going to help. We're going to have to figure out ways to help them. And I know that Alex did say, and we used to do this with cell phones, because I remember Mary used to do this, and I think Debbie used to too. When the kids walked in, their cell phones went in a basket.
Yeah,
So that if you're not using them, they don't even need to have it. So if we had, now I know the iPads, of course, are bigger than cell phones, but if we had some sort of box, and they put their iPad in the box unless you're using it for class. And that way they're not even distracted by having it next to them, you know, on the floor next to them, trying to, you know, hide it and do things. If they're not using it, it shouldn't even be in their possession. It should be in the general space, and they get it after class. So we're going to have to continuously find ways to work with them, because of this is how they have grown up. They have not grown up not knowing technology. That's just how they've grown up. And so we've got to, you know, we all get it. They don't. So we have to, you know, find ways to work with them. And it's going to be a continuous struggle.
Well,
That's just how it is.
I'll look into the price, just for kicks, you know, just to see how much it would cost for us to lock them down when they get here.
Right. And I'm in complete agreement with that. I remember when we were at our former employer, but everybody, all those laptops came through the school. They were all filtered through the school, and it had all those, you know, firewalls and stuff put on there, and it had that program. But, you know, we're not in that situation here. But, you know, that's not to say that we can't do something. We just got to find out what's going to work for us. But I think in the meantime, you can have, you know, a box that the computer paper was in, and their iPads can go in that box at the beginning of class. And if you're not using it, then, you know, they drop it in there at the beginning of class, and they don't need it until, you know, you say they need it. And that's, you know, maybe one or two people handing them out to everybody. Everybody doesn't need to stand up and go to the box and get their iPad. So, so what do y'all think about that? I think that could help. So, because I can tell you, if I were their age now and I had an iPad, I would be doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I can tell you that would have been me. So I'm not excusing it, but I get it. It's very appealing to them. It's very attractive. So that's what they are used to. So yeah. So I think you can grab a computer box. I know where there's a whole bunch of computer boxes where computer paper used to be. They're in that closet right there. Mm-hmm. There's a whole lot of them. So they can drop their iPad in there when they come in.
Well, they use them in my class.
Right. And if they're using them, that's fine. But if they're not using them, that day, they need to put their iPad in that box. So, and I think that we can at least start with that. And then Judy's going to continue to research some things that we may have some other options with. So,
Yeah,
okay? Okay. All right. Also, we had talked about, this was 2 brown bag lunches ago, we had talked about plagiarism and how we know that we're seeing a lot of that, but that kids, we really feel, and I feel this way too. I don't think that they are purposely doing it. They don't understand. They don't understand. Again, they don't understand it.
Who's supposed to teach them this?
So we are.
No, who? Which class?
We, all of us, because they write in every class. So we all have to help them to understand. I think predominantly, probably in their, English reading, predominantly, but, they write in science, they write in religion, they, maybe do some writing in Spanish. So, we're going to have to teach them and get them to understand that you cannot copy and paste and claim it as your work. You can't do that. You can use someone's ideas and make them their own and give them credit, but they do not understand that.
They struggle with that.
They really do. Yes.
The sad part is there's no original words left in the world.
Yeah.
Because somebody's probably said it just exactly the same as you because the numbers are now so great.
Right.
And it's a shame that kids have to think that, but that every living last sentence in your paper has to be cited is a little bit much. And I don't know how we go about reorienting that. I really don't. But I tell them constantly, you can't borrow somebody's words unless you give them credit. You want to, say at the end of the paragraph, if the majority of the words that you borrowed were from this one site, then at the end you put that one site. That tells the reader that the majority of what they read has come from that one site.
Right.
That's okay. But to have to cite 4 and 5 different names for every sentence you have in a paragraph is a little bit scary thought.
Yeah.
But especially if it has numbers.
Right.
Especially if it has numbers, it's got to be cited.
Yeah.
Because that's research statistics.
Yeah. And again, they are not used to having to go anywhere to do research. They're used to clicking a button and it's there.
Or thinking.
So, right. I mean, there's great things about technology, but that part of technology is crippling our kids.
I think so.
That part is crippling the kids because, it's instant gratification. That is what they are used to. And so we have to, continue to search and find new strategies and resources to help them. So, and Debbie, you had mentioned, I think you had mentioned turnitin.com. You want to say a little bit about that, or Mary? Turnitin.com. Okay.
Do we have to set up an account for that, or?
It's easier.
Which
Copy
one?
and paste it into Google.
We do.
Okay.
Oh, we've done that.
Yeah, my son used to have to submit his into turnitin.com all the time, and
Okay.
Do we have an account, or how does that work?
Is it free? Is there a charge for it?
No, it's not
You
free.
have to have
Oh
an
yeah, it is a fee.
Yeah,
The freeway.
I used Turnitin.com in college.
Okay.
I had 2 specific professors that did it, and other professors didn't. But it's like what Marydale said. At this point in the world, there are no original words left. So lots of times when you don't plagiarize, I didn't plagiarize, I was really good at citing, it would tell me that I had plagiarized, even though I had written that sentence and it appeared in some journal.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I didn't read that journal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell them how you check.
But she sent me an article yesterday that was written in the Viking voice by 2 students about the canonization of St. Teresa's parents. I read it and I was like, this is not middle school writing. There's no way they wrote this. I copy and pasted it into Google. I pressed search and I went to the first website that popped up because that's how these middle school minds work.
Right.
It was directly copy and pasted from an article on a Catholic website.
I read something
They wrote none of it.
Yeah.
I read something from a researcher today.
0.
I
And
know
they didn't get
he did not write it.
Yeah.
I can't prove it. I mean, I guess by going on there I could, but he doesn't write like that.
So what we need to do is we need to continuously have these conversations with the kids. And so if they're emailing it to you, which I would suggest, say, I'm going to take your work and I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste it into Google and see what comes up.
But
So,
here's the issue you have to be very careful.
and after we've taught them how to, and I know we continue teaching them how to do it correctly.
Here's the one thing. When you take a paper and you upload it as your first draft, you better not reload your corrected draft, because then it becomes published. And you would be basically going I could be going in and thinking that you just plagiarized somebody's paper, because it's not going to tell me whose paper it is, and it could be the kid's paper itself.
Put it where?
There's various sites that you can go in and do it, and it could be their paper that they unfortunately uploaded twice, and it becomes a published piece on the second upload.
Okay.
So they literally could be judged against themselves.
So
that's the scary part.
Okay. So again, we need to continue to look into that and see, and help the kids.
When you say they don't get it, what is it that they don't get? That they're not supposed to?
They don't understand.
Cut and paste
Harris
and then
can
put their.
explain this.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, when you see people's numbers, 75%, et cetera, somebody set their life and took numbers and compiled it. That's somebody's money and years. That's stealing.
No. I get that. What I'm saying is.
He's asking
How do they
why do they not know they're doing something wrong?
We tell them all the time.
Okay, go ahead, Maris. Go ahead.
Because they don't want to put in the effort.
Correct.
Here's the thing.
Answering the question,
You're
they
right.
completed the work that you asked
That's
them to do. They copy and pasted it. They found it on the internet,
And it's
they're
like-
turning it into their own.
And the interesting part is, I told this kid. I knew she was going on the internet to get stuff. I said, make sure you don't copy and paste and put it in your own words. She said, I know, I will.
Nope.
And then I sent it to her because she's a religion teacher. I'm like, check this because
It's like they think we're stupid.
And then they didn't do that.
Well, because to me,
And they don't think-
that's why I asked. I mean, to me, that's there's the intentionality there is a lot worse than just someone who's kind of just. Not really. I mean, that sounds a little bit more sneaky than.
They don't process. These kids don't process anything.
We
just like you get in trouble for the same thing over and over. You're like,
I know, but I don't want to say unfortunately, but it's something that has to continue to happen because it is very hard for them to understand. It's very hard for them to understand that that's not, because I'm sure that's how most of them do it. They think that that's correct.
It's because they don't know how to paraphrase. They do not know how to paraphrase. If I could just, let's just listen to this. Jack says that Atticus hasn't suddenly become racist, but is trying to slow federal government intervention into state politics. Did Mauricio write that?
No.
No.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't write that.
Right.
He took that probably from the thing of the cover of the book.
Yeah. So.
No, because you know how they speak. You have history with how they write, how their phraseology, and all of a sudden the phraseology is just too perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Too perfect, too dynamic of language. Yeah.
Okay.
It's, but you keep, and you can't, and here's what I say, the only way they'll learn is if somebody comes and says, I'm suing you for stealing my words. That would make an impression. But, I mean, that's the only thing I think that would make an impression on them about not, because you tell them constantly, it's got to be, put some things in your words, but tell me where you got it.
Yeah.
At the end of that line, what article title? Don't give me the whole title, just give me the first word or two. Or who's the writer? Put his name in those parentheses.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mary. Really, I'm really not trying to cut you off. I just was wondering, because it's not on here, if you could add something, and that is conferences. I don't know if there's anything in particular that I need to be.
Oh, okay.
By whatever.
What can you say? Because you're just going to show them the report card and.
Okay.
Why are they not meeting with?
Well, I'm gonna, everything on the agenda has been covered, and so that's great, and we can talk about some other things. But I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn this part of it, and say good job, good meeting, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Hi, I am Carmen West, and this is the conclusion part of my leading video, which I felt went very well. The agenda, all of the items on the agenda were followed. And I think it's very important to have an agenda because you need to know exactly what you want to cover. And in addition to that, I emailed the faculty and asked them if if they needed to put specific items on the agenda that I may have missed or not have thought about, that we needed to be sure that was covered. So in that regard, that was very successful in that all of the items on the agenda were in fact discussed. As far as the objectives, yes, I felt like the objectives were met. The majority of items on the agenda or the objectives were pretty cut and dry, and it was basically explaining what was going to happen, giving some updates, and providing information to the teachers so that they could plan accordingly and were aware of different things coming up. But there were a couple of items, for instance, the group parent meetings, because that's an item that was brought up, and how can we solve it? It wasn't something that was going to be solved in the meeting, and it's going to be something that we need to revisit. We need to come up and develop a template of how group meetings are going to work. The point person that has requested the meeting, and of course agenda items that need to be discussed, and so that the parents feel like everything is organized and we have a plan of how to help their child become successful and address the concerns that we have. And so that is something that one of the teachers actually is going to devise, and we'll send out to the faculty. We will make revisions, corrections, changes, and we will come back and revisit that, and then hopefully we will be able to have a template in place that we will in fact use for future group parent meetings. Also, with the topic of the plagiarism, that is another area that will continue to be ongoing. As you saw during the meeting, things kind of got a little heated, I guess I would say. And I think just because at this point we're not exactly sure what to do and how to address it, and that will be something that we will continue to look at in ways to help the kids with being able to understand that you have to give credit when you use someone else's work. So when you copy and paste it off the internet or you read it in a book, you have to give credit to that person. You have to cite their work and where you've gotten it from so that they are receiving credit for that. So that will be an ongoing conversation with not only the students but with teachers to come up with ways of how to address that so that we can see this move forward in a positive direction. My feedback from the teachers, thankfully, was very good. They felt that the collaboration was really good and appreciated the opportunity to have collaboration and not just me standing up there giving information and then adjourn the meeting. But we actually had opportunities for everyone to talk, ask for questions, and even come up with some possible solutions or areas of concern that we still need to talk about. And I think for the most part, I received that everyone was listening and respectful, and information that they were providing were relevant. So that was good as well. And then the time of the meeting was good. Our faculty meetings, whether it's a grade level faculty meeting or an all school faculty meetings are from 2:45 until 4 o'clock. And so the meetings always occur within that time frame. And so I was able to keep the meeting during that time frame and not run over or be too short. We actually got everything discussed in the time allotted. And so that was very good. So I received positive feedback from the meeting itself and how it progressed. Again, I think everything went really well as far as the meeting was concerned. I think the only area to where there was a little bit of I guess, well, heated, was with the plagiarism and, saying, of course, we're saying it should not happen. And, why are the kids doing this? And, they shouldn't be doing this. But it's not as simple as that, because like you saw in the meeting itself, is that this generation of kids, they are growing up with instant gratification and not having the background that those of us who are in education, who have been in for a long time, where before there was any internet, you had to go and, actually do research. And the kids, this generation of kids today, they have no concept of that. So we can't penalize them and punish them for not knowing. We as educators have the responsibility of coming up with ways to help them and to get them to understand that you have to give credit where credit is due. You can't just copy and paste something and claim it as your own. You have to give credit, and we have to show them how to give the credit, because they do not know how to do that. And that is a skill that they are going to need as they go into high school and as they go into college. And, if they're in a graduate program such as this, they are going to need those tools as part of their educational requirements. And so at this level that we have them, we are going to have to figure out ways of how we can do that. And so, I think the topic it's kind of more one of those sensitive topics. And so, I did my best to kind of keep things under control, which I do think I did. But, people have different passions. Of course, those who do a lot more writing are very passionate about this and want this to, let's say, okay, we have a solution to it. And that's just unfortunately not going to happen. We're going to have to continue to figure out ways. And we discussed a couple of ways to, help with that, with the suggestion of turnitin.com. Of course, there's a fee for that. How can we address that to administration? Is that something that we can look into and have that done? Some teachers have accounts, but I think that would be something beneficial that we could have, and the school could possibly pay for that. That would be something that would help the kids if they know that every time that their work is getting turned in to this specific program to check for plagiarism, that may help them to realize, oh yes, I've got to go back and give credit and cite the websites or books or journals or wherever it is that they found the information. So I don't think that I would change anything. I specifically put the topic that I thought was going to take the most amount of time at the end, because I knew the other items I could get through relatively quickly. So I think that was a good point. Even though it got a little bit intense, I still think it was a good place to put it. I don't think that I would change that part of it. I think maybe what took me a little bit by surprise is how some people got a little intense with their beliefs of certain items. But I think that just kind of comes with almost anything that you're passionate about. And I think maybe what I could have done is say, okay, let's just relax and know that this is something that is, we're not going to have a solution to at this moment, but we will continue having the conversation and discussing it and think of ways that we can help make the situation better. And so I think that in that regard, I can certainly do that. This experience was actually, I would say, very fulfilling. As a future administrator, I think that it is definitely important to have an agenda so that you know exactly what you want to discuss. And sometimes other things will come to the table that need to be discussed as well. I also think that inquiring with the faculty about topics that they want to have on the agenda is important as well, too, and so that they feel that they are part of the agenda and have their what they are interested in also is being discussed, because we want to make sure that we don't want to overlook anything, and so that everyone is on the same page, and that helps things to run smoothly. Of course, you're going to have those unforeseen circumstances, but that is certainly what I have learned by leading this meeting, and I felt that it was a great learning experience, a very positive experience, and I look forward to hopefully having more opportunities in the future to do so. Thank you.